Hello, everybody, and welcome to Perspectives, the home edition. I'm Sam Jones. It's good to have you with us. And our first guest today is somebody I've looked forward to talking to for a long time. I got to tell you something. We're talking about the Tulsa Youth Opera. And yeah, you heard me right, Tulsa Youth Opera. And our guest today is Aaron Beck. Aaron, good to have you, my friend.
Thanks so much, Sam. Great to be here.
A little bit about this. You're the director
Yes.
of the Tulsa Youth Opera. I had no idea that we started folks that young in the opera.
Well, we do. We are actually one of the few programs in the country that has children this young that specifically sing opera. Now, when we think of opera voices, we think of kind of, the fat lady with the horns singing really loudly with lots of vibrato. We don't have that so much with children. What we stress in our program is healthy singing, is good vocal technique and teaching these kids about music. We always say most of the kids who are in Tulsa Youth Opera aren't going to become opera singers, and that's fine. What we want to produce is children who have a love for music and the arts.
What are we looking at here?
This is a video made of Tulsa Youth Opera just a couple of years ago, featuring a lot of the students who were and still are in the group performing. This is a show called Little Nemo in Slumberland. It's an opera written for children to perform. We have performance opportunities throughout the year. These are our kids performing at the Philbrook Museum of Art in Tulsa. And we actually had our first performance with these kids for this season just last weekend at One Oak Field in Tulsa. So they get around. We've got anywhere, depending on the year, between 25 and 50 kids in the group. And they come from all over, including Claremore and the areas around RSU. And from all over, even had students from Arkansas drive over every week for rehearsals. So,
a lot of folks tend to think when you mention opera, they think, well, I only speak English because opera comes in so many different languages. How do you get past that and let them know there's more to opera than foreign language?
Yeah, so opera is 400 years old. And so that's a tough obstacle to overcome. You'd think, well, we have this great history, but the problem is people sometimes think of it as old-fashioned. What's great with Tulsa Opera is our artistic director, who manages all of the artistic programs for the company, is a composer himself and has had operas that he's written commissioned by the Metropolitan Opera, by the Santa Fe Opera, San Francisco Opera. And so he is kind of a living, breathing example of what opera is today. And his operas are all in English. In fact, the vast majority of operas written today are in English. So the traditional ones are sure, they're in Italian, German, French, but there's a lot of opera in English. And with our children, we do teach them some of the foreign language so that they can learn the basics of those. But a lot of what we do, as you heard on that video, is in English. And it's easier, I think, to get kids interested. It's easier to get to the root of really music training if they're not having to worry about a foreign language on top of it. So we do some of it, but a lot of what we do is in English, just because I think that's very important for kids to be able to not worry about that part of it while they're trying to learn to sing.
Let's talk for a minute, if we could, about youngsters that you welcome in. What's the process? Do they audition?
Yes, so Tulsa Youth Opera is an auditioned program, and the kids come in. Over the summer, we have auditions. They come in, they sing one little song for us. It can be something as simple as Happy Birthday, or it can be something more complex. And then we accept students based on potential, not necessarily based on current ability. So we'll have some students who have studied with a private voice teacher for a long time. We'll have some little 8-year-olds who come in and have never sung anything but Happy Birthday in their life, but they have nice voices, they sing in tune, and we think that they might have some real potential. And so we have a wide range of current abilities in the group, but what we really, really look for is potential. If they get into the group, it is a year-round for the school year, September through the beginning of June. And it is tuition free. Tulsa Opera's donors pay for this program entirely. It costs upwards of $6,000 per student, and that is a completely scholarship program. So it's not based on income. Every child who gets into the program is free.
Gosh, that's wonderful. And I want to back up just for a moment, if we could. Uh, when they come in for the audition, do you select the song, or do they bring a little ditty they can sing for you?
Yeah, we ask them to bring a song themselves that they've prepared. We have some on our website that are songs for kids who might not have the ability or someone to teach them a song, and they can bring one of those. And I have some kids who show up and don't have anything. And those are the kids, we'll just have them sing Happy Birthday, Amazing Grace, some sort of simple song that they might already know that shows off what we need to hear, which is, do they sing in tune? Do they sing out? Or are they really, really shy about singing? And a lot of it is personality related. So does this kid really seem like somebody who could be on stage, or is this kid maybe need a couple of years to mature a little bit before they're in Tulsa Youth Opera? So that goes into it as well.
Let me interrupt you there for just a second, Aaron. Personality, help me understand. Are you trying to find the youngster that can sell it across the floodlights?
That's a good part of it, but most of it, I think, is we're looking for the child who isn't afraid to do what we're asking them to do, so that they're not afraid to sing out when we need them to sing out. For instance, last weekend, they weren't afraid to sing in front of 2,000 people at a big ball field in Tulsa. We need kids who really have that kind of innate ability to just go for it and not worry so much about who's looking at me right now.
Gosh, I've never attended a youth opera. I need to become immersed and learn more about it. How many children, on average, do you say you take a year?
We take anywhere between 25 and 50. We don't have really a set number. It depends on how the auditions go. With COVID last year, we ended up doing a lot of our training virtually. So that was a smaller year because it was difficult for parents to add one more virtual thing onto their student schedules. This year we're kind of back, and we've got almost 30 kids in the group.
Do you keep youngsters from the year before, or do you go with a whole new group?
Every student has to re-audition every year. So that is really just a way of I guess if you wanted to think of it in business terms, it's quality control. It's making sure that the kids are doing what they need to do and continuing to improve. Most children are in it for more than 1 year. It's just that they do have to sing for us every summer in order to get accepted.
Golly, that's incredible that we have such an opportunity here available. I was on your website trying to navigate it earlier this morning and again last night. Very easy, by the way, to get through it all. I misread one element. I thought, how can they take youngsters at 3? It's 3rd grade.
Yes, 3rd grade. Yeah. 3rd grade through 12th grade.
Yeah. So they really have to want it, don't they?
They have to want it, and their parents have to be willing to help them want it, because those kids have to be in Tulsa for a rehearsal every Tuesday after school. It's a 2-hour rehearsal. We have extra practices when we're doing shows, and then we have performances. So in January, we're going to be performing an opera called Amal and the Night Visitors, which is a Christmas tradition for us. It's actually an Epiphany opera about the 3 kings, so we perform it the week of Epiphany in January. And those kids will have rehearsal every night for a whole week, and then 3 performances over the weekend. So this is not a small commitment. It is something that really they have to want it, and their parents have to be willing to help them.
If one goes on the website, is one able to hear performances from the past?
There are some performances, smaller performances linked on our website. A lot of times we run into performance rights issues with large operas, so we don't really have any of those available. But this video that you're seeing now actually is on our website and is able to be viewed, and you can see some performances. And then you can also come to our live performances in January, and then we'll be doing another opera in June with these children. So there's lots of opportunity to hear these kids.
I've got to ask this. I was at first I was going to, no, I'm not going to do it. Don't name anybody. But have you ever had a youngster come along that just blew your socks off?
Yes. Oh, have I ever? And you know, there are always I've taught for a long time, and in any group of kids, there's always a few kids at the bottom, a lot of kids in the middle, and just a few at top. And I have had children who have sung in a way that rivals the professional adult opera singers that we bring in at Tulsa Opera. And
No
really,
kidding.
I mean, just you have to hear it to believe it. And even then, sometimes I hear it and I think, how is this possible? And it's not because of a lot of those kids, they get training from us, but they're training on their own with a private teacher, and they're working and working and working and are able to do things that you really would be astounded at. But the other thing is that with them being in our program, we're teaching them the healthy way to sing. They're not singing stuff they shouldn't be singing yet because they're too young. They're not singing music that is not appropriate for their voices. They're singing music that works for them in a healthy way.
We got about a minute and a half. I've got to know something here. Do you keep track of these youngsters after they come through the program? Do you follow them, and do they go on to greater things?
They almost always go on to greater things, whether it's in music or elsewhere. I keep track of a lot of those kids. We actually have one former student who just sang last year in Tulsa Opera's production of Rigoletto at One Oak Field, and he is a student at the Royal College of Music in London and finishing up a master's degree with them. And he was in Tulsa Youth Opera for a long time. We had a former student who was in our opera of The Little Prince a few years ago. And then we have a lot of students who are veterinarians and doctors and lawyers and teachers. And what we are most happy about is that they are all music lovers.
Talented, each and every one. Hey, listen, Aaron, thank you, my friend, for coming by.
Thank you,
We'd like
Sam.
to have you back again down the road if you don't mind. Is that okay?
I'd love to. Can I bring some kids to sing for you?
I don't see why not.
I'd love to do it.
All right. We're out of time for this segment. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back with John Woolley right after this.